Hi, I'm Panda Hershey with Your Full Expression. Welcome to the replay of the informational webinar I had on July 20th to introduce the pilot launch of Compass. When we're at a crossroads and wondering what to do, asking the right questions at the right time can be just the tool we need to get headed in the right direction. And that is the foundation of Compass. I hope you enjoy the webinar. Okay, so before we get started talking about what Compass is all about, I want to start with just a few questions. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, Cindy, where 1 is low, 10 is high, what kind of level of clarity do you have on this sentence? I am clear about how I am applying my accumulated wisdom and life experience in my life this year. So you have a chat box. Toss that number in there. There we go. Thank you. All right. And okay. Brian, you can do it too. Okay. All right. Let's try another one. Scale of 1 to 10. 1 low, 10 high. Oops. I'm going to go back. I know how I am streamlining my life this year to let go of activities or people that no longer serve or help me. 1 to 10. Put that in the chat box. Great. And I know what new thing or activity in my life is helping me grow as a person this year. Put that number in the chat box. Okay, great. Thank you. That kind of helps me get a sense of where you are in knowing the direction of your life, because these are all things that are actually happening all the time for us. And we'll come back to this later. So before we start talking more about Compass, I just want to go back to my own journey from being at those crossroads with you right by my side, Cindy, in 2016. And, I was 50 and there I was laid off. And even though I knew it was happening beforehand, when it actually happened, it was just completely ungrounding. And, it was a shock. And at the time, I had this sense of, well, someday I know I'm going to be a healer, but I wasn't expecting this now. And, is this the right time for me to actually do that? And what's that time frame I should be looking at? Should I be working part-time or just go full force into it? And I had so many friends who offered up support and, good advice from their own experiences about how to move into this new journey. And it was great. And also it was from their own experience. And it was really difficult for me to think about how to implement it because it didn't feel like it was a way I could do it. And what I felt like I needed was some guidance that I could relate to. And so if at the time someone had said to me, Panda, do you know how you have this ability to pull all of your tools and wisdom together to make things elegant and beautiful? And you know how you always do this in your own unique way, based on your own personal life experience. Well, what if this year you did both of those things while you take charge of your life and try something completely new? And what if at the same time someone had asked me, what if you just focus this year on a small group of people who really understand you as you're trying these new things? And what if this is the year that you change how people see your impact on the world and how you want people to see and notice you for the rest of your life? So if someone had actually asked me these questions back in 2016, I think I could have seen the bigger picture. And I would have felt a little more at ease and been more confident in just going in that direction. And I definitely would have had more patience with the timing of how life was unfolding. And I definitely would have saved myself some tears and a lot of worry. So if that is what you need, I want you to have it too. And that's really what I've discovered over these 6 years that I've been on this healing journey as a community healer, this thing that I'm calling Compass. It, hang on. It's so simple because it's like combining a grade school workbook format with Mad Libs, where you just plug in words that come from a list. And it's thorough. It's about me, you in your relationships, you in your community, all dimensions of you. And it's about the surface parts of you that you show at a cocktail party, but also the deepest parts of you that only your closest family and friends see. And it's timely. So the questions that we talked about in the beginning are really about the overall scope of the year and having some context for what is going on in your life, big picture. And it also can help you with those shorter bite-sized periods of time, like 8 weeks, maybe, timed with a Mercury retrograde, for example, to give you that more day-to-day focus. Because what if I were to say to you, if you knew the answers to those questions and then layered in with that from the 8 weeks of August 20th to October 16th, in what area of your life are you working to be a better partner? And for the 6 months from September to March, how are you putting your heart into your ideas? I bet you already know what you have to say and how something is coming up for you starting in September that you can see stretching into next year, where you have something that you've been processing and you need to get out there. And this framework can help you focus that and help provide some guardrails for saying, yes, this is the journey of my life, and I know I'm on it. And it's really just for you. These questions are the ones only you can answer. And they point the way just based on your birth date, birth time, and birthplace. And if you answered 7 or less to the survey questions and want to be like a 9 or a 10, and I actually saw both of you guys had like 10s. That was great on a couple areas, and that's great. I would love for you to be at 9 and 10 in everything. And when I've done this with people, what has been so rewarding is to have someone say to me, you know, by doing this work with you, by having these questions, I have this clear framework so that when I'm in every situation, I go back to those questions. My life experience feels less random and less chaotic because I know what I'm looking for. And that just is the best feeling for me, because then I know what I'm doing it right. And so with this program that I'm creating, all it is taking a guidebook. Actually, I actually had to print it up today. That's personalized. And this one's for me, but you would get your own with your own information, hardbound and electronic. And just 2 sessions, 2 Saturdays in the afternoon. Replays will be available with your cohort to walk through how to get your bearings, that big picture sense of what I'm focused on for 2022 into the spring of 2023. Those questions that we asked, how to get to a 9 or a 10. And getting your bearings for the fall and the winter. We'll use those skills for the upcoming Mercury and Mars retrograde to answer those questions and have more specific questions just for you that would get to the heart of what I showed you about those 2 periods. And then having these semi-monthly community calls that are timed to coincide with key transitions, when the portal opens and when Mercury stations retrograde and that kind of thing, to come together and bring your questions and celebrate how it's showing up in your life, and also ask questions on how to think about how they apply in your life and how everything weaves together, but really to have the same framework to be able to work from as a community to feel assured that we're on our path and doing what we're supposed to do in our lives. And I'm going to have some training videos to reinforce the Zoom sessions, and then a few other things. And so, this is my pilot program. This is the first time I'm trying this. And your contribution for our energetic exchange, I've thought so hard about what feels like the right thing. I want it to be accessible to anyone. And there are so many coaching programs out there for thousands of dollars, and that just does not feel like me at all. And so I'm fairly certain I'll price it somewhere around $500. And for this pilot program, I just want to cut that in half, $249, and a payment program available if you needed that. And so this opens up tomorrow. You'll get an email with a video replay and details to sign up. And I'm going to leave the doors open for a little less than a week till next Tuesday, so I can print all the books for everyone. Actually, I need that time to get them and then mail them out to people. And so that's something to just think about. If it feels like you would love a little more clarity on how you are progressing in your life. So, any questions?
I don't have it. No, I don't have any questions, except for I'm in. I guess I have a statement. I'm in.
Oh my God, Cindy.
I've been asking for a mentor. Isn't this just wild?
It is such an honor.
Well, ditto, sister.
Wow.
Ditto.
I can't wait. I can't wait to work with you. It really touches me. Thank you so much. Wow.
Actually, Panda, I am curious.
Yeah.
I have a question as far as the work that we did with the workbook and how you showed me how to align the different questions. Would you say some more about that as far as what's available for the people who are joining the cohort, and give some examples of what that might look like?
Sure. So,
for someone who is, watching the recording, if you could give maybe some examples from your workbook of like one of the first, questions that you combine the 2 different parts, and so we can have a sense of what that might look like.
Sure. So, for example, one of the questions I asked was, how am I applying my tools and wisdom to take charge of my life. And this area that we're paying attention to is from 26 to 28.5 degrees Capricorn. And so what I do is I provide everyone with their own blank natal chart. So you'll have this in your book. And I talk to you, I will walk through finding Capricorn in your chart. So it will be somewhere around this circle and you'll find it in your own book. And then each of the signs, each of these signs around the circle has 30 degrees. So we'll look for 26 degrees, which is somewhere around here. So between just past this line here, and then 28.5 degrees. And I'll have you draw a little arc to see that's where I'm taking charge of my life, just in that tiny little space. And what I have you do is I look to see what the pie slice is here. And we just write that down. And for me, the number is 10. So I would write 10 and turn to the next page. And so that tells me the part of the life, my life, that I'm thinking about, 10. Here's the number 10. I check that box. And the description of that part of my life is the application of my tools and my wisdom. It's my impact on the world and community around me. So that is what I am taking charge of. And then I would write that right here. My impact on the world would be a nice, simple way to say that. Then I turn the page, and Capricorn has a certain style to it. It's about leading others. It is about condensing my wisdom and knowledge into a structure. So now when I combine those two things of the Capricorn quality of leading others or condensing my wisdom and knowledge into a structure, this is what I'm doing. I am condensing my wisdom and knowledge into a structure in my impact on my community. And so everyone will be able to make a statement using these, using the Capricorn style and understanding where in their chart this is happening to make some sense. And that is what you're taking control of. And we'll talk about examples in your life of that. For me, it's about starting this program. That's what I'm trying to do. The next part of it is getting a little more specific to look at what tools I'm using. And this all comes from your natal chart. So remember, I said 26 to 28.5 degrees of Capricorn. So I have to look for parts of me that are in that range. So everyone in their book has a copy of both their natal chart with the planets, plus a list of all of their tools from 0 to 29 degrees. And I look for something between 26 and 28.5. And look, I've got Mercury at 27 degrees of Libra in 10 minutes. So that's in that range of 26 to 28.5. So I go back and I plug that in. And I would write Mercury, 27 degrees, 10 minutes Libra. And then I would make a sentence. Now I have tools back here. And when I did it live, I had, nice boards. But this becomes the Mad Libs part. I go look for Mercury. And it's my awareness, my communication, my thoughts, how I process. And then I look for the style of Libra. It's about having a buddy. It's about being connected to someone else and being in partnership. And so the statement about that tool that's always true of me is that I'm always thinking about the other person. I'm always talking with awareness of where the other person's at. And so when I combine those together to make my question for the year of how I am taking charge of my life and applying my tools and wisdom, the question is, how am I taking charge, structuring my wisdom, my tools to make an impact on the world while I am thinking about talking to people one-on-one? And that is this program. Every step I've taken this year, from starting Coffee and Charts at the beginning of the year, where I was just sharing my knowledge with a bunch of friends and inviting people to join, was practice for this. These are my little steps, the little baby steps of trying something new, but doing everything I'd ever tried to make it happen. And this is part of this growth of doing Compass to make it a bigger impact. And I just have to keep going. But this is how I know I'm doing it. This is how I know that I'm on the right track, how I have clarity about what I'm doing this year. And there's so much more. It's all the streamlining, the restructuring your life, you're growing, all kinds of things, but they all point the way. And that's what I want to share with people. So what do you think? Does that make sense, Cindy? Hi, Cheryl. Okay, well, it is now 6:34, 9:34 on the East Coast. And I really appreciate your being here, you guys. Thank you so much. And you'll get an email tomorrow sometime with the replay and some instructions on how to sign up. And I look forward to sharing everything I can with you. Thank you.